All right, I'm here with Dr. Erin Hudson. She's just a phenomenal woman. If you're not already following her, please do follow her. She's got a doctorate in chiropractic care. She has grown. She founded and grew this business, the Hudson Wellness Center. It has multiple locations and is now the managing partner at Quattro Capital, known as the Quattro Way.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope to add some serious value to your listeners today.
I always like to start because I think psychology is fascinating. So, like, paint the picture for us. Like, how did you get to where you're at today? Like, childhood, and I don't need the full long narrative, but childhood through schooling into business, on the doctor side, and then into real estate. So, kind of lay that out there because it's always fascinating to hear people's stories.
Awesome. Well, I'll start and I can get rolling. So you just pause me whenever you want and interject with a question, and we'll go from there. But I think that I can just start from just childhood. Let me give you a brief picture of what it looked like growing up. As a matter of fact, I'll never forget running home from school one day and running down the hall of my house and knocking on my mom's door and saying, Mom, I got to talk to you. And her response was, I'll be right out. And the truth was that was her response on the regular. And I didn't know at the time what it meant, but I knew what I felt. And it was a sense of a little bit of abandonment, a little bit of rejection, a little bit of, gosh, Mom, I wish you'd just give me 5 minutes of your time as a young kid. And I had a little bit of animosity because it was very clear that she was super busy working this 9 to 5 job that just literally robbed her of her time and her energy. And it's kind of like the system. And the system doesn't reward like ownership, right? And so I tell you, it was a moment where, well, not at that exact time, but I recall that, and I knew deep down inside, as I over the years, that I had something. I was a little bit different. I had an entrepreneurial spirit inside of me. And I can assure you, though, around that dinner table with my family, we never had discussions of retirement, what ROI meant, or cash flow, or any of these kind of conversations. But I know that as a young kid, I always was just different. And fast forward, growing up, my brothers and sisters and my family was very much like, oh, geez, she's the odd duck. What Kool-Aid is she drinking today? And I knew with that entrepreneurial spirit that I certainly didn't want to be owned by a 9 to 5. And that is really what fueled my fire to become a doctor, be my own boss, have 30 employees, a couple wellness centers, and be able to run the show and do what I wanted, when I wanted, where I wanted, how I wanted, with whomever I wanted, right? And so that was really how that transitioned.
You knew and felt that prior, young, like you knew and felt that. So when you went to school, when you chose your education, you had that idea, like no matter which path I go down, which school I go to, and you went to BYU, if I recall, correct?
I knew pretty early. I wanted to go to college and I wanted to become a doctor. I had a couple family members that were doctors. I saw the livelihood of getting to live the life on their own terms. And that really intrigued me. I've always been big into fitness and exercise, and chiropractic is all about the body healing itself from the inside out. I loved that idea of, don't get me started, but medicated is like medications are like giving out candy, and there's a time and a place for it, but the body is so innately incredible if we get it what it needs. And so that definitely got me excited. But here was the thing. Here I was. I noticed that I started to eat work, breathe work, live work, drink with work, all of the things, right? All while juggling a family. And it dawned on me one day as I started to begin to explore real estate a little bit. And I got a door that kind of opened up for me, but it dawned on me one day that the likelihood of my kids becoming doctors was slim. But the likelihood of me being able to be a badass businesswoman that could teach them how to make money while they slept was incredibly high. And so literally it was just, I have chills saying that. And it was just one day taking the mat, rolling it up, burning the boat and saying, I'm done, and bringing in, walking away, doing that. Actually, to be quite frank, Brian, I noticed that, look, real estate was the way to go. I knew that I was a wise woman that loved negotiating great deals. And at the end of the day, I decided to do a complete 180, reinvented myself at the ripe age of 40 freaking years old. So if you're hearing this, it's never too late. Yes, it may have been back then a better time, but the next best time is today. And so I literally rolled that mat up and I burned the boats and took a massive pay cut to dig into the multifamily space. And that's where I started to run in that space and had my first little epic fail and then a massive, massive, mighty win. And I'm fast forwarding on you because I did get started while I was in practice.
This is perfect. So I love it. And it's life is scary. And you and I both know there's so many people that just talk about it and think about it and wonder what it's like or what it would have been.
Yep.
But there's such a very small percentage of people that actually do, actually try, actually go. And that's a mindset piece as
Yes.
well. And we don't need to dive into mindset either, but that's fully it's who the people are and how they're wired. And you're right. If you're listening, like just go and try and do it. I mean, looking back, would you rather fail trying or not try at all and always wonder? Like it's those kind of concepts. So and I love this. Not this is about you. This is not about me, but I love this because I talk to people all the time and it's just so intriguing to hear their stories, but you are so
Yeah.
similar to
Yeah.
what I am in my path as well, which I got chills when you were talking because that's the same style. And the thing is like, I had a great career and a great paying job and I left that to do something else. And I did that for a while until it just wasn't fun anymore. And I made the most money I was making then and to shift into something that to get these challenges and the whys. And everything always stemmed around the real estate as well. But you just got to jump and try. So let's and the kids and the family and all of that stuff. So I have a question before I move on. Do you talk about ROI? Do you talk about generational wealth? Do you talk about retirement with your kids at the dinner table?
Yes, yes, and yes. I don't even know. Like, I feel like I get on my soapbox right now. It's like, do we go into epic fails? Do we go into how I launched and how I got strategic and mightily resourceful? Do I talk about my nonprofit and how I met my partners? Like, there's so many directions, Brian, I could go. And I just gave you a little sprinkle. So, which one really intrigues you the most? Or we could touch on a couple.
What intrigues me the most, to be super honest, just because it's who I am, I love the family and the kid aspect of it, and I love the work-life balance, right? But let's talk about your real estate. So you transitioned into real estate. How did you get in there? How did you like what was your first there's many different aspects of real estate, right? So what and why and how did you go down your first you said there's a failure and then how did you recover from that to where you're at today?
So I'm big on mindset, and I'm one of those that I like to speak out loud. I talk about what I want in life, and this has kind of just been my regular of who I am. And I'll never forget, in between patients, I started to explore. I really wanted to get started in real estate. I lived in Southern California. The median house price was $1 million. There's no way that was happening, right? And so I started to explore. I found the best place to invest was Indianapolis, Indiana, because the buy-in price was like $50,000 and you could rent it for $800. And for those of you who know, when you buy a rental, you want at least 1% of the purchase price to be able to capture and rent. So check, I got it. Number two, I could get the tenant out within 30 days. Check, done. California was 2 years they could squat. So I moved and started to say, okay, I'm going to go into Indianapolis, Indiana, put it out in the universe. I know it sounds crazy. Walk into the gym the next week, and one of my buddies says, hey, Erin, I know you've been talking about getting into real estate. I actually have a buddy that is selling some of his homes in Indianapolis, Indiana. I live in Southern California by Disneyland, not by Indiana, anywhere close. And so long story short, I ended up going to dinner. I said, hook us up with a dinner date so we can all go. Let's go talk real estate. Sure enough, the gentleman shows me what he's got for sale. And I said, I don't want just one. I want all 6 of those. It was a $300,000 package. I did not know how the hell I was going to purchase this. I had $100,000 in the bank account. So what did I do? I just got creative. I called up my father and asked if I could get actually, I didn't ask if I could get a loan. I said, I've got a great opportunity for you to make a great return on your money. Would you be interested? And he said, well, I don't know. What's a great return? I said, well, what's great to you? And he said 8%. And I said, great, 8%, 5-year loan. I got 100,000 from him. What did I do next? I went to my credit card. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You get these checks in the mail and it's like, you can use that check and it costs you 3% or whatever it is. I called the credit card company. What amount could I write the check for? I've got this whole line of credit. It's free and clear. I don't have anything in it yet. Sure enough, I maxed out that doggone check and that credit card was maxed. Check. What am I getting at? I got resourceful. I went and found the money. I didn't make excuses because why? We all know excuses are just well-planned lies, and I choose not to believe into those. So, long story short, you guys are going to die where I'm about to take you, and it's going to make you think, what's my excuse? So get ready. So all of a sudden, I purchased these homes. I find out that, holy smokes, I can actually purchase them for less than $50,000. How did I find out? From my property manager. Long story short, I ran out of money, guys. I didn't have any more money after that, what does that mean? You got to get creative. So I went on Craigslist. I went and found a pack of 3 homes for this is a real deal, for $100,000. I turned around. I sold 2 of them for the same price that I bought all 3. I kept 1 for free, owned it free and clear. And then what did I do? Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And within 2 years, I owned 26 single family rental properties. And I sure as hell got that mailbox money. So fast forward, guess what? Word got out. And people were coming to me saying, how could you help me get a home? And I thought, holy smokes. Y'all have heard this saying before. He who solves the largest problem gets the biggest paycheck. So I solved the problem because I had people wanting investment properties, but they certainly didn't want to self-manage. They certainly didn't want to find the tenant, and they sure as hell didn't want to put lipstick on the pig. So I said, okay, I'm going to create this turnkey company. So I called the management company. I casted vision in the most mighty of ways, which is probably another superpower. What did I say? I called them up and I said, listen, I'm getting ready to go big. I said, and I'm going to bring all my friends and all my family, and they're going to come invest right here. And I want you to manage all the homes that I bring. But here's the deal. And they're like, what, Erin? I was like, you need to take care of them like they're your family, like you've been taking care of me. Check, done. Listen, guys, within 3 years, I went on to do 231 buy and sell transactions. Not telling you this to be braggadocious by any stretch, okay? Because it wasn't pretty at all. And by the way, when I bought the property and turned and sold it, that counted as 2. Regardless, check this out. I don't know about you and what excuses you're making about why you can't do A, B, C, or Z, but I will tell you this much. I was not a real estate agent. Number 2, I had never been to Indianapolis, Indiana. Number 3, not one of my buyers had ever been to Indianapolis, Indiana to go check out their property before purchasing. Number 4, I didn't have a website, I didn't have a phone number, I didn't have a company, and I had 5 little babies at home. And when did I do it? In between seeing my patients. So with all the love in the world, my question for you is, what's your excuse?
So we hear a lot is they're like, well, those don't exist where I live. I can't buy a place for $100,000 and get $1,000 a month. I can't get that 1% or $500,000 for $5,000 a month. So what's your take on that?
Sure, I would tell you, yeah, I love this. Listen, if you can't get it, it sounds like you're giving up and you're stopping a little too soon. I bet there's people out there that you don't even know. You don't even have to be the person that finds the house. Get out there and tell people what you're looking for. Get in investment meetups, get on podcasts, put it out there in the universe. Number 2 is don't be afraid to go to a different area. The problem is many people want to invest in their backyard and that's the wrong place. And I just proved it to you. I've never been to Indianapolis. I went there because the price was right. I made my own team. I didn't have all the luxury of everything together. And then I said, everybody go out there and go make it happen. No, listen, you're going to run across people that make excuse after excuse after excuse. And you're going to also run into a soul that come hell or high water, they just freaking figure it out, right? So I think keep going. I love this.
And there's not a magic wand. Like you have to go and work and dig and fight and find all of this stuff. And I will tell the people, and you know this, there are cities, you're right, they're not in your backyard, but there are many cities and areas out there, especially in the Midwest, that you can go and buy something or some things for 300,000 and bring in 3,000 or more return on that. Those exist still.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. So check this out. So here I was, I owned all these properties free and clear. I never went and took loans on any of these properties. I should have, but I was like so busy, like moving and rolling. And I'll tell you that it's really interesting how I, of course, I thought about how could I get my kids involved, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about children. And I'm going to give a little shout out to how I did it and what you can do too, without trying to squirrel too much. So what happened is my daughter at the time, she had just turned 16. She had 40 or $5,500 in her Roth IRA, and I said to her, hey, listen, I'd love for you to own one of these houses. I said, here's the deal. If you want a car, you can use your $5,500 that you have. It wasn't in a Roth IRA yet. I said, you can use that $5,500 that's in your bank account to buy a new car, or mom will give you a $35,000 value house. You can take your money, put it in the Roth IRA, and then turn around and buy the house with your Roth IRA money. So begrudgingly, she went to bed that night and was like, oh, I just really want a car. And I was like, don't be mad at me. I'm just the one that's creating an opportunity for you. If it doesn't work, go buy your car. I want you to feel good about it. She woke up the next morning, oh, I guess I'll take the house. And I'm like, long story short, her Roth IRA bought the house. She held on to it for 4 years. It was fantastic because when kids get their hands on money, what do they want to do? They want to spend it. So it was in the Roth IRA, 4 years. She turned around, she sold it, she doubled her money. And where did she hop into next? I'm going to save that and I'm going to go to the next child. So fast forward, the other kids are like, wait, what about me? Like, it's my turn. You helped Riley out. What about me? So one's 14, one's 15. We had just bought 5 acres, this beautiful Airbnb home in Texas. Bought on 5 acres, always looking for multiple exits. It had this beautiful little pond down below. And I said, that is perfect for little tiny homes to go around there. So what did we do? We had little shipping container tiny homes that we put around that pond. And the 14 and the 15-year-old, guess what? They were managing those Airbnbs. And every quarter they'd come to mama, they'd bring their Excel spreadsheet and they would get payout. It'd be payday. We'd go over the numbers and do a checks and balances. And my daughter, I'll never forget, goes, I don't know how to do an Excel spreadsheet. And my 15-year-old in the background goes, listen, it's okay, Taylor. If you want me to do it, I'll do it for you. But there's going to be a 5% charge of whatever amount you actually get to collect. And so you would have this beautiful competitiveness at the dinner table about whose was doing better. That's awesome. The kids got to have this competitive side on this beautiful little edge that they got, but something happened. It grew up, it blew up, the shipping container tiny homes. So what did I do? I then created this whole company to have tiny homes in remote locations. And so we've got 27 shipping container tiny homes right on the water at the lake. I've got 14 over at the winery. And what did I do, guys? I don't need the whole enchilada, nor do I have all the bandwidth to do it myself. So I would put together, assemble these teams, and I'd send them off there, and then I'd send them off there. And I was the big visionary that had the idea of what I wanted to create. I'm going to pause and tell you, if you're listening to this, write this book title down. It's called Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. Who, Not How by Dan Sullivan. And it's really about who are the who's in your life that know how to do what you need to do in order to hit that end goal. And by creating those retreats and bringing in the right crews, it allowed me to continue to move. So that's that. And I will pause.
All right. So, wow, you're not just a savvy businesswoman. You're an absolutely amazing mom, I can tell, and you just have so much passion and drive, which is awesome and so hard to find these days. Just that grit and the drive. So, can we talk? Because I wasn't going to even go here, but I think you've hit it multiple times, and it's not the obvious, but it's the circles. right? It's your trust circles. So and that can be on so many different levels about surrounding yourself. And there's a lot of cliches on, rising tides floats all boats, and the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and all that type of stuff. But if you are be the dumbest one in the room, who you surround yourself with, is who you turn into, all of those types. But that's like what the epitome of what I'm hearing who you are is. I'm hearing that you have had these trusted resources, people, friends, circles throughout this entire progression, because from little things, if you're buying in Indianapolis without ever being to Indianapolis, you have to trust your people and your circles, your property managers, your repair people, etc., the financing, the lenders, or whoever, the creative financing, your dad, wherever it is. And then you go in and now you're building these tiny homes in different areas and you deploy teams. Well, you have to trust your people and also treat your people well. So let's talk about your mindset or your philosophy on that, and treating the people and trusting the people. You have advice on that? For Because I see so many people bounce around and always looking for the best deal and this and that. So like I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I love that you said that. Let's go back to that wellness center very quickly. With the 30 employees I had, let me tell you, there was a good handful of them that were just like high school, college kids. Let me tell you, college kids and high school kids, they hop from job to job to job to job, chasing the shinier apple. And let me tell you, my team never left. Why did I not have turnover? Because I treated them truly like family. Like it wasn't about the raise. I'm sure they loved the money, but it was truly, they just felt loved. It was like I had this extension of all these other kids, not just five. Furthermore, when you move into being, I'm a big vision caster. I think I've already said it 1.5 million times. Is I like to think big and I like to walk out what I just said, and I want to bring people into the fold and I want to know their opinion and how can we make it better and how can I help you win. My biggest thing is I want to create a win-win for Brian and I. Brian, how can we both win and walk away going, Erin's exceptional, and I say Brian's exceptional. Crap, I want to continue to do life with him. So you get to surround yourself around amazing people. I'm going to pause though for something. I think that we go on social media. I post there every single day. Why? Because if people don't know you, they can't flow you. And I also want to be inspiring and I want to have, anyways. So with that being said, you see all the glitz and the glam and the highlights and the reels and all the exciting stuff. But as an entrepreneur, you see all those peaks on social, but you don't get to see the valleys. And those valleys as an entrepreneur are freaking painful. And most people will not talk about their downfalls, about the valleys that they've been in, and they're afraid of looking bad. But there's something beautiful that comes from being vulnerable, real, authentic, and letting people taste and feel who you are as a human, right? And so I will tell you, all of this is awesome and great. But I'm going to flow right in, Brian, if you'll allow me to. And I'm going to share my transition from single family going into the multifamily space and what I came up against right out of the gate that could have literally wrecked me for life and never brought me back. You ready?
Let's do it. Go.
Okay, cool. So I joined a mentorship program. And I ended up being a part of this program and paid the $50,000 price tag. I was so excited. Every month they have a little conference at each location in different states, and I would go and you'd start to see the same people. I ended up meeting this amazing husband and wife, and they said, hey, listen, they called me after a couple of the events. We'd love to purchase this deal and so that we just found. Would you like to partner up? You want to help bring the capital? Long story short, we partnered up. I was so excited. It was my first deal, 18 months in the hitting the grind hard. Remember, I took a full blown pay cut to dig in, burn that boat so that I could be 100% all in on this multifamily because I knew it was going to change my legacy and my life for my kids for forever. And so we purchased this 100+ unit, $5.2 million. Where did the money come from? Oh, guess what? When you take care of people the right way, they want to continue to do life with you. Many of those investors that bought those 230 transactions that were a part of that, that's where the money came from. I close on that deal. The next day I go to the bank account 2 days later, and there is $35,000 missing from the bank account. And I call up the wife because her and I are the only ones on the bank account, checks and balance. You don't want too many chefs in the kitchen. And sure enough, she goes, well, yeah, no, my husband, I gave it to my husband because he was the agent on the seller's or on the buyer's side, and he's deserving of it. I said, hold on a second. Nobody, it said zero commissions for the buyer's agent on our contract. So that, long story short, I had to hire attorneys. I had to get these guys off. But when you partner up in the real estate space, it's not just a little month relationship. It's not just a year relationship. These multifamilies, in most cases, the business model is to go at least 5 years. So here I am in bed with frauds, and all I could think about is how in the world am I going to sleep? I have my friends, my family that are a part of this, and holy smokes, right? Long story short, I had to really do some self reflection. And I wanted to, anytime I have a fail, there's many, that I have to go back in and find out where did I go wrong? What could I do next time so that I don't ever land in this position again? And when I went to go dissect it, I realized that I allowed disrespect on multiple levels. I allowed things that I would have never allowed, to the level of just a little bit disrespectful to the waitress, and things that I noticed that the husband or the wife did, or the little bicker between each other, and things I would have never allowed. And because I was so eager to close on my first deal, I dismissed it. Shame on me. So fast forward, I end up thinking, you know what, maybe I'm just going to go back to the single family stuff. And fast forward, this big event gets put on by the multifamily company, education company that I'm a part of. And they call me up to the stage, and they want to give me this award for closing on my first home. I'm walking up to the stage with my head not proud. It's a little down and my tail's between my legs. And I had never felt imposter syndrome in my life. And I go up to get this award, and the MC goes, hey, there's word that just went around our whole office this last month. You need to share with everybody. And I'm dying. I'm thinking she's talking about the chaos that just unfolded. Lo and behold, she said, no, no, no. You know, I'm like deer in headlights. She's like, no, no, no. Tell them about what you did, your give back. And I was like, oh. And so I shared with the audience. I said, listen, my heart is all about philanthropy. I love to help those in need. I take my kids to Belize, Nicaragua, Haiti, and we just love on the orphans. And I said, our heart right now is turned towards Nicaragua. And we built this home for the single mamas, building these homes for the single mamas that live in the trash dump. And I had built 12 of them. And in celebration, after this apartment closed, I built a 13th home. And I said, listen, if you ever get a chance to give something to something that is so much bigger than yourself and someone in need, your heart will never be the same. I said, my children, their hearts are forever wrecked. And I started to get teary. And I started to have these tears that were coming down my face. My belly started to knot up. And I couldn't kick it. And all of a sudden, out of my mouth, I was like, I would love to build 2 more homes if I can get 2 people to match me. Hang with me, guys. I'm getting there. I'm almost there. And so all of a sudden, the room was like dead silent. And I thought, what did I just do? I'm about to get dejected off the stage. What felt like 10 minutes, all of a sudden, this gentleman in the back of the room rises to his feet and he's like, I'm in for 5,500. And a woman in the front row goes, I'm in for 5,500. And within 10 minutes, raised $55,000 and built 10 homes for the single mamas living in the trash dump. And I'll never forget, Brian, going to my hotel room that night, getting off stage. I felt like paparazzi was all around me, and everyone was like, I don't have 5,500, but I've got 500. And I'll never forget at one point putting my hand on a woman's chest and saying, listen, the Lord doesn't care about the amount. It's the intent of the heart, right? And I went up to my hotel room that night and I said, why did you put that on my heart to do that? I could have got dejected. I'm not at a philanthropy event. And as clear as day as night in my spirit, it was those that rise to the occasion to pour in such a cause as this are the people that you need to build with, Erin. Fast forward, 6 months later, Quattro Capital's birth. Who are my partners? The gentleman, the fire starter that rose to his feet in the back of the room. The woman in the front row that rose to her feet. And I get chills because there's no way in heck in 3 years that I would have ever thought that we would have bought 26 apartment buildings, providing homes to over 2,500 individuals. And it's just such the truth that if you are about impact and sowing goodness into the world, it doesn't get dismissed. And you know that saying, you can fly by yourself, but two together is like 10,000, setting 10,000 eagles at flight. And that's what I feel like it's been like for me. And I feel like I'm just getting started.
You are amazing. Amazing. You are absolutely amazing. And I did not ever in a million years hop on here thinking this is the direction. I know you're amazing and what you do because I've read it, but hearing it in the stories just is
Oh,
10x.
you're
And
so sweet.
it's so cool. No, you're so cool and awesome. And so
Yeah.
the Quattro, right? Is that based off your four core pillars or is that
It's my
based off
pillars:
people?
people, properties, philanthropy, and profits, if I didn't say that. But yeah, so that's it's our pillars for sure. And I think look, it's that impact. Like this team is the most incredible team that everybody plays. I've never seen anything like it. Where everyone plays full out, everyone gives 110%, philanthropic ideas and goals are all over the place with us. As a matter of fact, I changed from those tiny homes that we had been building as Airbnbs. Now I'm on this massive mission and I'm building these tiny homes so that we can create affordable housing options for single mamas. Why? Because I'm one. And veterans. By the way, I'm taking resumes. If you have any great suitors, let me know. I'm looking for an incredible soul. It's so much better, as I said, sharing life with another. But building communities for vets, single mamas, and in due time I'd love to become the bank for them. And if I want to give them their dignity back when they don't think it's even possible to own a home. I want to show them what's possible. So I'm on a massive mission right now and looking for land in Texas that maybe somebody wants to give, donate, lease it for $1 for us so that we can go create a community that's just reminds people of their greatness.
All right. And everybody listening, if you know, so it might not be you, but you might know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that could be that. So if they're looking for a good cause and they're looking to surround themselves by good people, please reach out to Dr. Erin Hudson. She's amazing, as you guys get to hear, and you can share this. And I want to have you back. I want to wrap up, but I want to have you back on at some point in the future because I just feel like there
I
is
know.
so much more we didn't even talk about. And I think you have so much value to offer people listening, not just in real estate, which we touched on a little bit, and
Yeah.
drive, which we got a lot of just listening, but just life and mindset and just being a good person. I wear a shirt quite
Oh,
often. It says, work hard, be kind. And I believe in like that. Like if you can just work hard and be kind, I feel like you can accomplish anything in life.
I love that. Work hard and be kind. And mine is go big to give big.
See, it's amazing. We can make a shirt, a front and a back, right?
Yeah.
I think you're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for hopping on here. Let's do this again. How else can we help you besides that? What else can the people listening do to help you help society?
Yeah, listen, my heart is really on those tiny homes, but I will say there's a lot of people out there, they don't know where to get started, how they can duplicate, have their money make babies. And I will tell you, working with my firm and being the co-founder and me being the person that brought everybody together, I don't think there's any better way to put your money on rocket fuel, especially while the market's down a little bit. We've got a fixed income fund where you can put your money in and it makes 10% compounding a year, which equates to roughly 11.59%. So it's a great place to put it. And then also we are set to, investing in the multifamily space. We've had some great success and now brokers are giving us these properties and saying, hey, we've got a great one for you. So we're working on putting some things in place because 2026 is going to be bomb.
Yes, it is. So if you're looking to invest and you don't even know where to start, and this motivates you, which I'm sure it motivates most people listening, and if you're new to it, reach out to
Yeah.
Erin. Like reach out to her. She has solutions for you to help you get your foot in that door to start the journey that she started years ago. Why not start now? Why wait? This is a great time, and I will second that. It's a great time to be investing.
Hey, can I share one more thing that comes to mind?
Sure.
Okay, real quick. for those out there, because you're thinking, shoot, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I don't have a way. Crap, why can't someone just open my door? It's about really getting resourceful. It's not
Yep.
about having the resources, it's about having the grit to be resourceful. And I will tell you, remember how I said that I had those 26 properties and they were free and clear. And then all of a sudden I have the epic fail. That's my little pit with that
Yep.
team. And then we go into Quattro taking down our first deal. You do have to hear this because it's pretty awesome. I wanted to know, how is it that everybody talks about OPM? Like, how do you go about it? And so I hope this inspires you just by me sharing an idea and a thought. So our first property, I had to bring $300,000. It was a $2.5 million 36 unit apartment building in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I had to bring $300,000 in order to own 25% of this deal. I wanted to know about this OPM. So what did I do? I was like, well, I could go do a cash out refi on one of my 26 properties, but I don't know. Let me just try this OPM out. I literally went on to social media and I said, how would you like to be the bank, make a great return, and have it backed by real estate? And I kid you not, if you go to my Facebook, back at that time, you will see there is 65 comments. And people said, oh, I'm highly interested. How can I do it? How can I be a part? What did I do? I literally got my pen, my paper out. I started to write down all the people where it was low hanging fruit. What does that mean? It means, who are the people that know you, like you, trust you, believe in you, they're in your circle, and that they would be the lowest fruit to be able to grab and work with. And I kid you not, within 48 hours, I locked up $300,000 and I got in on this apartment building, owned 25% of it. And then in 2 years, went to go refinance it, paid them back. And then that third year, turned around, sold the property, and doubled the money. It went from 2.5 million to just under $5 million. So talk about mighty wins, guys. Like, it is all over the place. It is out there. You just have to be resourceful. You have to work around the right people, and literally be hungry more than anything else, because goodness is on the other side if you don't give up.
And no, I imagine is not part of your vernacular.
No, and it actually hurts because people are like, why do you just take no for an answer? And I'm like, solution driven. No, we're going to find a way.
That's a big takeaway. That people wired like you and who you are, no means not now. No means,
Yeah,
well, let's figure it out. People don't
for
give
sure.
up. Get creative, especially with financing. Now more
Yeah.
than ever, you can get creative in financing, whether it's OPM or whether it's boomers money or whether it's a payout plan for people selling. There's a lot of ways to be creative. So I
Yes.
do got to wrap up because I have to run.
All
But again,
right.
I want to thank you. I want to have you back on here. Let's keep in touch. Let's reach out, because just
Sounds good.
great minds think alike. And you're absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad we got to do this today. And you provided so much value to people listening.
All right, brother. Have a good one. Take care.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Take care. Have a good one. Bye bye.